Good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. I call this meeting to order at 9:03 a.m., and we will start with our land acknowledgement. Associated Students recognizes and acknowledges the first people of this ancestral and unceded territory of the Fernandina Tatavi and Banda Mission Indians that is now occupied by our campus of California State University, Northridge. Honors their elders, past and present, and the descendants who are citizens of the Fernandina Tatavi and Banda Mission Indians. Associated Students recognizes that the tribe is still here and we are committed to lifting up their stories, culture, and community. Now moving on to roll call.
Vice President Emiliano Aragon,
Here.
Senator Arias Gomez,
Here.
Senator Atias,
Here.
Senator Basilio,
Here.
Senator Baywa,
Here.
Senator Cabrera Figueroa, Senator Contreras,
Here.
Senator Cunanan,
Here.
Senator Dominguez, Senator Garcia,
Here.
Senator Gavino, Senator Cachidia,
Here.
Senator Kodka, Senator Mane,
Here.
Senator Luna,
Here.
Senator Quiroga, Senator Radianov, Senator Ramirez,
Here.
Senator Umana,
Here.
Senator Vicente. We have quorum.
Thank you. We will now move over to the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion on the floor? Senator Romano.
I move to approve the agenda for April 20th, 2026.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Martinez Luna. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing and hearing none, if there are no objections, we will approve the agenda unanimously. Okay, thank you so much. We will now move over to the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion on the floor? Senator Ramirez.
I move to approve the minutes for April 13, 2026.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Main. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing and hearing none, if there are no objections, we will approve the minutes for April 13th unanimously. Okay, thank you so much. We will now move over to special presentations, starting with our Office of Undergraduate Research.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gabriela Chavira. I am the director for the Office of Undergraduate Research. I'm also the faculty in the Department of Psychology. I've been a faculty for, this is now my 22nd year. I am very grateful for this opportunity. So thank you, Vice President Aragon, for the invitation for me to be able to present the amazing work that we've been doing over the past 3 years. How many of you are familiar with the Office of Undergraduate Research? Okay, that's good. Some of you have, and I'm hoping to enlighten the rest of you because I want you to spread the news to the entire campus because our office is really your office. It's the office for all of undergraduate students. If you can move to the next slide. So the Office of Undergraduate Research was actually established in fall of 2023. So I was hired in July of 2023. Reappointed to be the director, the inaugural director. So we developed this office from scratch. And if you see on the slide right now, this is what I call my overview, my mission, my vision of what the Office of Undergraduate Research can provide. Everything that you see in green are things that are actually happening right now. Everything that is in yellow are things that are in development, and everything that's in gray that's in the future. It's coming, it's happening eventually. But we provide services and initiatives for students to support both faculty and students, in particular undergraduate students throughout all of the campus. So all of the majors are part of the Office of Undergraduate Research. So some of the services we provide is we have grad peer mentors who provide opportunities for students to learn about undergraduate research and understanding what the high impact practice is. It's not just research, but also creative scholarship for, majors like art and music that actually, may not necessarily do research, but what I'm finding is that they do research as well. We're also developing a curriculum, a course. It's a 0 credit course, but do you know that we have no idea how many students are engaged in research on this campus? Nobody knows, not even institutional research. They have no idea. We're guessing that maybe about 1,200 students, 1,300 students on campus are engaged in research activities. Most of them are volunteers, so we have no idea. So maybe individual labs may know, or individual faculty are like, oh yeah, I mentor 100 students. I've been mentoring 10 students, but nobody really has a count of how much it's really happening around this university. And so this 0 credit course will provide us not only the information for all of the institutions. So when somebody's writing a grant and they're like, I've been mentoring, I don't know how many students have I mentored in the past 10 years, the Office of Undergraduate Research will be able to give them information about who they've mentored and how long and what the outcomes were for those students. We also have these amazing initiatives that really help students become engaged, so become aware that research is on campus, that there's opportunities here on campus. Some of them are paid, most of them are voluntary, but that they can learn about information that is relevant to their majors, not just involved in research and any research, but involved in research that is pertinent for their future careers. So we offer the research certificate so students can take part in workshops to learn about research opportunities, how to find a research mentor, find out about mentoring relationships. But we also have professional development opportunities like time management, how to write a resume, how to do a curriculum vitae, things like that. How many of you have taken a workshop from the Office of Undergraduate Research, either in person or online via Zoom? Dulce? Really, only Dulce's been? Dulce is one of our wonderful students who is participating in the Office of Undergraduate Research. So you can see here, these are the 5 different areas where you can actually earn a certificate. And we're now going to start offering digital badges that you can also put on your LinkedIn page to show that you have earned a certificate. So we have our entry to research certificate. We always encourage students to start with that one where they find out what is research. Email etiquette, how to contact faculty. A lot of students do not know how to do proper emails, right? And so we help them with that. We have our conference series. So, once you are engaged in research and you found a mentor and you're participating in research, we want you to go away and meet other scholars in your area. And we know that Associated Students provide STAR funding. We complement that as well. We offer workshops on how to write a conference abstract, how to attend a conference, what to expect, how to prepare an oral presentation, how to prepare a research poster, how to do an elevator pitch. All of those kinds of things were very useful for students last week. 2 weeks ago at the Symposium, we printed over 36 posters for students for free, and we also helped them prepare their presentations, and many of them were given awards. We have a professional development series, like how to do a resume, how to find summer research opportunities. We also help you with the applications, and we give you feedback on your application. How to ask for letters of recommendation. Students often don't know how to ask for letters of recommendation, and to get the strongest letter, you should know how to ask for a letter of recommendation. We also have workshops on how to use social media responsibly, because if you're going to be applying for internships, you want to make sure that all of your social media outlets are intact. We have our research ethics series for students who are engaged in research, who use biology or human research. We have our research ethics series. And then we offer our grad school prep series, which we offered last summer. And we had over 100 students participating in that online via Zoom. We offered on Zoom because we know that students are off campus, and we wanted to make it as flexible as possible. We wanted to have as many students attend. We actually had graduate students attend that one because they were saying that they did not have the same level of support. So they were attending our workshops, and we were giving them feedback on their essays for grad school as well. Next slide, please. Thank you. We also have paid research opportunities. So this summer, will be the third year we're doing our Summer Jumpstart training series, and that's a 2-week training opportunity. It's half day because we know that students typically use the summer for jobs and to earn a little bit of money. So we offer it in the morning only, 2 days, half day, so that hopefully they can work with their employers to work in the afternoon or weekends. But they do get paid for these 2 weeks where they can learn wet lab skills, qualitative research methods, quantitative research methods, computational biochemistry, coding using Python. So we have these 5 areas that really go across many, many different majors and disciplines. And this year we're going to have 50 students, which is going to be our largest cohort. So students, about 60 to 70% of our students from the previous cohorts have been successful in getting into research opportunities as well on campus. We also have 2 paid other kinds of research opportunities. The other one is just skills building, right? So they're just working on their research skills so that they can go to a mentor and say, look, I know how to create a code book. I know how to analyze data, right? But then we have our year-long program, which is called Poder. And this is a legacy program from Build Poder. Build Poder was an NIH grant that we received, which ended in 2025. And that was a $40 million grant that we received to establish basically an Office of Undergraduate Research. I used everything that I learned through Build Poder and have now incorporated it within the Office of Undergraduate Research. So students actually get paid during the year, fall and spring. We're funded through 2 different sources, one through the Office of Undergraduate Research and 2 by federal work study funds. So we leverage those funds so that students can get paid during the academic year. We don't have a lot of funds. We work on a very, very small budget, modest budget. But we are able to offer more positions for students because we use federal work study. So one student that is funded through R gets us 4 federal work study students. So it's 1 to 4. But we know that not everybody is federal work study eligible. So we have only right at the moment 10 paid positions. I did have 10 others that were being funded through a National Science Foundation grant, but unfortunately last year that grant was terminated. So students can earn up to $6,000 per year, $3,000 each semester for working with a faculty member in their discipline, right? So we pay, they get trained by their faculty. And then this summer, I'm really, really excited. We are offering our Sunrise program. And this is a summer undergraduate research initiative for scholarly excellence, Sunrise. And that this is our first year that we're doing it. Students are going to be able to get paid for up to 20 hours a week for 8 weeks during the summer doing scholarly research or creative scholarship during the summer. We ended up getting, we received 34 applications. We'll be able to fund 10 students. It's a little expensive, but at least we're going to start with that, and we hope to keep growing each year. Next slide, Denise, thank you. We also have learning opportunities for faculty because we want to make sure that, not only are we just pairing students with faculty, we want to make sure that the faculty are trained to mentor undergraduate students and they understand the needs and the experiences of undergraduate students. So we offer free online mentor training, and all of our mentors through Poder and all of our initiatives, they have to be trained in either through the University of Minnesota's free online training, or we used to pair up with the National Research Mentoring Network, but that was also terminated last year because of the federal climate. So we do offer training for faculty to mentor students. We also have Our newest initiative is called Faculty Opportunities for Research Collaboration and Engagement, called FORCE. So our FORCE is a new opportunity for faculty who haven't engaged students in research to learn how to, and through a community of scholars, they're going to work together on developing research projects where they can engage and have a student. So we're going to be able to pair them with one of the Poder students. So a student is going to get paid to do research during the academic year with them. And the faculty will learn the value of mentoring undergraduate students in research. So this is really, we know that there are a lot of faculty on campus who engage students in research, but again, we know that only a fraction of students are actually able to engage in undergraduate research, because most of the time students tell me, their labs are full, there's no opportunities. Everybody tells me, try again next year, maybe they'll have a spot for me. So we want to try to open the pool of faculty who are engaging students. A lot of faculty have told me, especially in disciplines where they traditionally work alone, I don't know how to mentor students. I did everything by myself. I still do everything by myself. And I'm like, well, how are they going to learn to be you if you're not training them, right? So they're like, but how are we going to do it? I'm like, FORCE. So that's what we're doing. So so we ended up with 77 applications for 8 spots for this year. So there's a huge need. Next slide, Denise. Thank you. We also have small little pockets of money throughout as well to help students and faculty really work on their research endeavors. So we have $500 research supply grants that students can apply for. One faculty can have up to 3 students who apply for research supplies, so that equals about $1,500 per year, and they can keep applying every year. The students don't have to be paid in the paid programs. They can just be any student on campus. So if you're working in a research opportunity and you're like, oh, but we need to purchase this, or we need to buy these instruments, or we need to buy, we can pay for it. We can help. We have about $20,000 in research supply funds that we can get distributed throughout the year. We have never been able to run out. The faculty are just not applying for it because I don't know why. We also have travel scholarship funds because we want to also supplement what is being offered through through associated students. So students must first apply to STAR funding, and then we can supplement for $300 in additional funds, because we know that travel to conferences is really expensive. Next year, we're going to move that up to $400 in additional funds. We also support students to attend the National Conference on Undergraduate Research. Students just came back this weekend from the National Conference of Undergraduate Research in Virginia this year. We pay for everything. We pay for the conference registration, travel, lodging, and food. So we sponsor up to 10 students each year for that. And this is I love this conference because it's interdisciplinary. So they have everything from visual artists and performance to, the traditional research that we consider, like biology and psychology and social sciences. So this is a really, really great conference, and it's very student supported. It's a beautiful conference that I love going and taking students. The next slide. And that's it. So I really wanted to, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of what we offer, and we hope that you go tell the students in your disciplines and your colleges, because we're here. We're located in the library. We're centrally located in the university in the lower level. We call it the garden level of the library. In University Library 27. We also have our training workshop there for students. So in-person workshops take place in UL 19, and those are being taught by our grad students who are amazing, amazing scholars and researchers as well. But they're also really great at, what we say is revealing the hidden curriculum for students so that they can be successful as well. So I'm open to any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions from our board? Senator Umana?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for the presentation. I did have a question. Are there any unit or GPA requirements in order to do this?
No, 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 no. Now, individual faculty may have requirements to join their lab, and I think that that's what students are encountering. So, sorry, for some of our programs, yes, it's a 2.8. And the reason why we made it 2.8 is that we wanted to make sure that students are doing well, are not struggling in their classes. We have had students who are below a 2.0 who want to join. Now, for the workshops, anybody can take them. We don't ask anything about GPA requirements. But for the paid opportunities, we do. But I've been thinking about lowering it down to 2.5 because we know that students are, 2.5 are still doing okay, right? Yeah. So that's, great question.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are there any further questions? Vice President Geminiano Aragon.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you in person. I have 3 questions. So
Yeah.
the first one is, does OUR offer any scholarships for students who are conducting research in a voluntary or unpaid position?
Yes. So all of the ones I said at the very end, so the research supply grants, the travel scholarships, anybody can apply. You don't have to be in a paid opportunity. That is open to all 34,000 undergraduate students. We also offer like free poster printing, which we know it costs like about $100 each time for them to go to to a conference. We also have the free mentoring and free review of your documents. So if you're writing, scholarship, all of that, that's all free for anybody. You don't, I mean, and we actually do it for grad students too, because they're also telling us they don't have the support that they need. But the paid opportunities like Summer Jumpstart, those are clearly, those are paid and those are limited, but the other ones are not limited. Mhm.
Perfect, thank you. And one of my friends was in the program
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like last year,
Yes.
and then now she's on like her clinicals and like involved in labs, so I can totally like
Yes.
attest to how like productive the program is. So also shout out to
Thank you.
OUR. Then if the federal funding climate continues to tighten the budget, do you anticipate that the OUR will need to limit any of its resources or services?
Yes, so that's a great question. So the first 2 years, my grants were supplementing. So that's why we started full force. We started with a full program. And yes, we had to cut back this year because of our lost 10 positions. So those 10 positions, once we commit to a student, we want to keep them, right? So those 10 students who lost their positions in May, we had to continue them through the Office of Undergraduate Research this year, which meant that we were offering fewer new positions for students. So it was limiting this year. I'm still applying for grants, trying to continue to increase, but this is a very challenging time, in particular for like Hispanic serving institutions, which is not a federally recognized institution anymore, right? They did away with HSIs. We still use them because we know what we are and the value of an HSI. But we're going to persevere. And so there may be times right now, what I'm trying to do is, you are aware that Mackenzie Scott just donated another second, wonderful donation to the university. Some of it is supposed to go to increase research capacity for faculty. Hello. What better way to serve faculty than by serving their students who work with them? So I just wrote a white paper to the provost, and it's under review because I want to grow this opportunity. We had 150 students who applied for Summer Jumpstart for 50 spots. I would love to be able to serve 150 students, right? I would love to be able to, we had 34 for, what do you call it? Sunrise. I would love to be able to fund 34 summer students in research this year. I have funding for 10. Poder, we get about 300 applications per year for 35 spots. I would love to be able to do 70, 100 spots. We just don't have the funds for it. So right now we are still kind of we're being very cautious, and I have a 5-year and a 10-year plan so that to make sure that we're able to, I don't want a program to end because we don't have funds. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then my last question, what are some potential areas of collaboration that may still be unexplored or like might exist between AS and OUR to help sustain and expand support for student researchers?
Oh, that's a question. I'm not sure. I would love for, definitely, I would love to collaborate. I just started collaborating with faculty development, and that's how FORCE came about. To try to increase the number of faculty. So I'm like, how am I going to increase number of faculty? We're not going to hire new faculty at the rate that we need them. So I said, well, we got to help the faculty who are here. I don't know. I definitely want to explore that with you all. But if you have ideas, let's talk, because I definitely I want one, I think just helping spread the news that we're here. I think what I saw this morning is very typical of what I see every time we do a presentation in a classroom. We ask, how many of you have heard of the Office of Undergraduate Research? And we have like, a couple hands here and there. I'm like, oh, I want to be able to go into a room, a few years from now. Like, how many of you guys have heard of our? And like, right here, I want to see that. That the students are aware that we're here. I don't want to be hearing, oh, I just found out about you and I'm graduating like in 2 weeks. Right? I don't want to hear that story anymore because I hear it too often. I was an undergraduate student here. I am a Matador. I'm a very proud Matador. And that's why I came back to CSUN, because I wanted to do, I created our, very selfishly, I think, I wanted it to be what I didn't have, right? Back in the 90s. Yeah. So thank you so much. Any other questions? I know my time's up. Yeah.
Senator Diaz-Gomez.
For the research aspect, is it like when students are doing the research, is it like specified to whatever the person that's like watching over them is doing, or is it entirely whatever they're interested in and their research?
Yeah, we really believe in the apprenticeship model, only because when you come in and if you say, I have an idea, can you help me with it? Faculty are not going to be as invested in teaching you and training you than when you say, I know you have a research project and you want to get it like out and you want to really kind of move it forward. Help me to train me in these skills, and obviously I help you, you help me, right? And so that really does help with faculty, because they're like, oh, now I have to mentor the student on their individual project and my project is kind of stagnant. So the apprenticeship model really, really does work. I learned under the apprenticeship model, and I was able to use my skills, and I had to see, like, how do I take these skills to do the work that I do? And because you're working in your discipline, it's going to be related. You're learning skills that you're probably going to be needing for grad school or for jobs in your area, right? So what's your major? Economics, right? And we have faculty. So we actually have a mentor pool of over 65 faculty already who are ready to mentor students. There's, so if you don't know where to start, you can start with the Office of Undergraduate Research mentor pool. And then, or if you look in your classroom, you're like, you know what, I have an amazing professor right now. Could he be a mentor? Absolutely. Let's recruit them. Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation.
So,
My question was just about the mentor pool.
Yeah.
So you said there's 65 faculty. So my question would be that, is it like across different majors? Like we have
Yeah.
Africana Studies, we
Yeah.
have sorry, I'm blanking on what.
Yes, we have business. We have, like, for example, 1 or 2 business faculty. We have 1 or 2 in most disciplines, but then we have biology. We have 2 separate lists of faculty in bio because there's so many, and 2 faculty lists in psychology. But we have in theater, right? We have in the university library has a faculty who's actually doing research as well. So we're across right now. We're across 7 of the colleges. So we're still trying to get, a couple of the colleges to kind of join us, but we're spreading throughout. Yeah. And we don't have all majors yet on all departments, but we definitely want to, that's the goal. We're trying to strive so that every student can find themselves in that pool of mentors. They can find a mentor. and you can help spread the news and tell faculty they can join us. It doesn't cost them anything. They just put their projects up so students can see the description and what the student responsibilities are and what their requirements are, if they have any requirements, like a GPA requirement. If they have a GPA requirement, I can't tell faculty what to include, but most faculty don't have requirements. I actually had students in my lab, I never asked GPA, and one year a student told me, she's like, I'm so glad you took me because when I started working with you, my GPA was 1.8. But I was so into the research that it kept me going, and she graduated with a 2.75. And she's now a licensed clinical social worker and Children's Hospital Los Angeles. I mean, doing amazing work. So, yes, GPA requirements shouldn't be a barrier. Yes, thank you.
Are there any further questions?
Thank you so much.
Of course, and the nice thing about today is that we actually have our president and vice president-elect right behind you. So if you wanted to start the collaboration conversation early, they're right there.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes, of course, and thank you so much for coming. Okay, we will now move over to university planning and budget updates with Stephanie Ramirez, as well as our Assistant Chair of Finance, Guna Tejagali.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning. So I'm Guna Tejagali, and
I'm Stephanie Ramirez.
so we're just here to give some updates from the University Planning a Budget Group meeting, which is also called UPBG. Yeah.
Thanks. And just some background on what UPBG is University Planning and Budgeting Group service in an advisory capacity of the presidents by assisting with the development, prioritizing of campus goals, and advising on allocation of resources. So on February 6th, UPBG has introduced a multi-year initiative to fund up to 15 million annually in support of university priorities. Following that, we both have participated in 2 workshops that were held on February 27 and March 26, where we had an exciting conversation about options for investing those funds available through philanthropy.
All right. So the funding is divided into 4 main priorities. First is the student support, which receives the largest portion at $5 million. And the second is improving instruction and expanding research and creative activities with $4 million. And then the third is faculty and staff support, which allocates $3 million. And finally, the capital projects that support strategic priorities, also funded at $3 million.
So just a more detailed description on the student support. Just to be clear, these are all just discussion items. I'm here to bring up what has been talked about now and get you guys' feedback to go into the next workshop that will be held on October 28th. So going into student support, we looked into number 1, scholarships, where a lot of topics were brought up in having 250 bookstore credit for all first-time transfer students and first-time freshman students to just alleviate that stress and knowing how to finance school materials, as well as 250 bookstore credit for technology. We believe this was essential since whether or not students will need a computer to access Canva to access all their course materials, and 250 retention credit for first-time freshmen or first-time transfer students that re-enroll the following year, just to build up that retention all throughout their school year. And retention grants for small unpaid balances for graduating students to help them kind of alleviate that debt from attaining a higher education, and give higher than 250, example 1,000 to fewer students to make it more impactful. Onto option B is CARE grants basic needs. Starting off with the Valero Nest Matching Fund, which was the 500,000 Valero gift towards operating. And this will go towards students' basic needs, so it's food and housing securities. Algorithms, MetaCard grants, and creating guards for faculty regarding services for students. And below that will be some input that was on February 27th, but was not discussed on March 24th due to not enough time that we had. So for that, we address food and housing securities, consider restrictions, meals, plans, policies, including whether students living housing should be required to maintain a meal plan rather than just opting out of it. Expanding assistance for students with multi-general caregiving responsibilities. And going forward, we also talked about career pathways and enhancements. Comprehensive study on the Career Center to kind of expand it more towards students and their goals, and expanding Passport Center's D and CBE model to all colleges. And following that is other more input that we weren't able to discuss further. Integrating career pathways, career preparation, and placements. Another topic we discussed towards students is their academic initiatives for student success, where they were proposed on expand paid internships and experiential learning opportunities, expanding EOP, a great resource a lot of our students access, and student engagement through the Soraya, as well as publishing funding to provide stipend to unpaid internships, especially in majors that require internships. Additionally, which is the next slide. Thank you. We talked into identity-based initiatives where we want to support programs, conferences, and targeted initiatives that advance belonging and student success for identity-based communities to have students feel more belonged here on campus and feel like they have more of a community. And leaning more towards community college transfer students program expansion, transfers, pathways, improvements, and advice reforms, engaging clubs and student organizations in transfer and recruitment outreach efforts, as well as K-12 student engagement, where we plan on sustained path partnerships with K-12 schools, early and long-term investments, for example, USC's neighborhood initiatives, and recruitment visibility and representation. Renovation strengthens relationships with the NAHS as a feeder school to increase direct enrollment into CSUN. And finally, a K-12 student engagement through the Soraya.
Yep. So another funding priority is instruction and research for $4 million. So this category focuses on improving teaching and expanding research opportunities. So some of the ideas include modernizing the classroom technology and the equipment, as well as providing teaching grants and incentives for courses to redesign them. So there are also discussion about reducing classroom sizes, evaluating teaching structures, and exploring new learning models like micro-credentialing. Also, additionally, funding could support faculty research and increase opportunities for undergraduate students to get involved in the research opportunities. Yeah, next. Next, please. And some more discussion. It re-emphasizes that making research support more equitable across disciplines. So there's also a push to investment in tenure track faculty, and which reduces the reliance on the lecturers. Another key area is strengthening partnership with industry and increasing philanthropic support to fund innovation and also research development. Yeah.
Then going on to our third priority is faculty and staff support going into 3 million. So what's proposed is enhancing professional development opportunities, for example, programs directly linked to career advancements, career development, pathway planning, like certificate programs, mentorship programs, and increasing funding all allocated for staff success. Apply teaching grants model to departments chairs who can no longer teach in the summer. And more input that was brought up on February 27, but not further discussed, would be the health and well-being resources, providing stronger structural and workload support for department chairs whose responsibility and sustainable, regardless of department size, 100% burnout, address reporting health and burnout concerns amongst chairs, and fund additionally chair training and leadership development, ensure equipped support roles, including graduate coordinating.
Yeah, one of the next last priority is capital projects. This category focuses on long-term infrastructure and strategic projects, One of the major ideas developing a student engagement center that would support academic excellence, career services, and student success programs. Another one is creating a welcome center that serves as the central hub for recruitment and helping prospective students to explore opportunities at CSUN. Yeah.
And these are just some key themes following up our recent workshop, which was held on March 26th. We realized we had a meaningful investment in faculty research and creative activity and essential for support faculty excellence and advancements, as well as to increase opportunities for students' involvement in research. Teaching should be included as a primary category for investment, including continuous course redesigning and evaluation of teaching tools and resources to maintain excellence in a rapidly changing environment, modifying of classrooms and laboratories equipped as well as instructional technology, just to help students be more at pace with like the current job cycle, as well as professors being more able to kind of teach in their classroom environment. And career and postgrad preparation for students in Paramount, the campus should access best practice across colleges and programs and across higher education to inform campus-wide initiatives. Increased support for student and financial aid and basic needs is an essential priority, including supporting basic needs through Valera Nest, potentially expanding emergency grants, scholarships aiming to increase enrollment and retention with further venting, needing to ensure resources and directly to initiatives mostly likely to achieve initiative outcomes. And that is it.
Yeah, that's all we got. Thank you. And just let us know if you have any questions. We have another UPBG meeting this week. So yeah, next week. So just let us know. We'll be there to address.
We're also able to take any recommendations you guys have now. I know we just got presentation from the undergraduate presentation, so that really brought up a lot of discussion for us to bring into the next meeting. But if you guys have anything, feel free to share now or email us. Thank you.
Are there any questions from the board? Senator Gavino?
First, permission to be recognized.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the information, you all. I was seeing a lot of the notes of the discussion being about, assessing different resources on campus, looking at different things, seeing how we can change them. Is the sentiment in the committee more about investing in the current programs and services that we offer, especially when it comes to student services, or is it looking at maybe designing new ones or trying to push beyond our capabilities? I didn't get that from the presentation, so I was just wondering if you had more information on that.
They're looking into both. So first that expanding our current, like all the resources we have, like with the Valera Nest, is looking into expanding that more, as well as building up more capital projects such as like the Welcoming Center. So it's like a one location where all students could go, as well as transfer students, to have like a source of welcoming and like inclusion here on campus. Yeah. Go ahead, Isaac.
I didn't know if I needed another recognition. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And then just one specific thing I noted. I saw a 20 something. It was like a lottery grant or actually, could we go back to the slide? I'm sorry. It was the I'll tell you when I see it. There. The $2 million match of the annual lottery fund distribution for equipment. So is that being matched to like philanthropic donations and they're just trying to expand like the work there and that's going to be a marketing push, I'm guessing? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Senator Dominguez?
Permission to be recognized?
Granted.
Hey, thank you. And then another question was, could y'all like take to the committee like a suggestion of looking into expanding the loaner device program that is in the library? Because earlier this semester, when the provost had like come here to like give us a presentation on like the services that the like university is providing, I had asked if we could expand the loaner device program just because I know that there are many students that I've talked to that have had difficulty with that program because of the limited devices that are available. And so I think that if we could use some of that money that is like being allotted to improving like students' experience, to expanding that service, it would like in the long term be able to benefit more students than just maybe per se um, giving that money so that each student has a single device. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there
Wait,
any
just to
further
be clear, you're talking about the loaner program, like the computers, or? Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much, guys.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We love you. Okay, we will now move over to open forum. Open forum is intended as an opportunity for any member of the public to address the Associated Student Senate regarding any issues affecting CSUN students. Speakers are allowed 3 minutes each to speak. Please sign in using the clipboard for minute recording purposes. Is there anyone here for open forum?
Oh, fire. Good morning. For those of you who know me, I'm Sheen Gupta. I'm the chair of outreach and recruitment here at Associated Students. I've been asked by one of our lovely constituents, Michael Carey, who's the vice president of Disrupt, which stands for Disabled Students Rising Up for Systematic Transformation, to read a statement out loud on his behalf. 1 in 4 people in the United States have a disability, yet remain to be one of the most overlooked aspects of identity. On April 9th, the Faculty Senate resolution passed, creating a Disability Identity Center, and also includes optional to train faculty members around disability. While this marks a huge step forward towards inclusion and understanding the disability as an identity for both faculty and students, with apparent and non-apparent disabilities, it is only the beginning of creating campus where students with disabilities can truly belong. Our first request is that you ensure that the resolution is implemented in a timely manner, especially the Disability Identity Center. We urge you to express the support of the resolution, as concerns have been expressed that without clear and apparent student support, there will be no reason to create this center. Our second issue involves physical access to buildings and classrooms. While there is an ADA push button, elevators, and other required accessibility features in most buildings, there is a lack of consistent maintenance around the features. Many students find that these buttons and elevators are consistently breaking down, and with repairs taking several months. During this time, students with mobile-related disabilities are denied access to parts of the school. We ask that you prioritize and increase maintenance and test these basic accessibility necessities. Without working push buttons and elevators, the burdens on students who rely on these to access to report the issue. The final area of concern that we will outline here is how accessible services for students with disabilities are advertised and discussed. The Disability Resource Center and Educational Service Office, or DREDS, offers screenings for learning disabilities. This program helps students who suspected to have a learning disability to find the right path to a diagnosis and find accommodations. Most students are unaware of this program, and we further want to invite students to compound by the difficulty to navigate to the disability resource website called SAAS. We asked to work with DREDS to create a method of advertising not only their service, but also all others that offer students population to ensure that all students with disability are given the opportunity to receive the accommodations that they need to succeed. I thank you for your time, and I hope that you will consider not only acting on these items I've listed, but also look at other ways to ensure that students with disabilities are heard, accommodated, so that we can move forward on this campus where all students can participate, learn, and thrive. Thank you, guys.
Hello. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Noemi. I'm from CSUN Athletics. Here are my updates from the past week and this coming week. So our men's volleyball team just finished competing in Hawaii. They unfortunately got swept both games, but they are competing in UC Irvine this week, April 23rd to 25th in the Big West Championship. Hopefully they can win over there. This past weekend, our baseball team swept UC Davis and won their series, which is really great. They're currently tied as number 3 in the Big West, which is very exciting for them. And tomorrow they're playing a game against San Diego State at 6 p.m. Our tennis team will be at the Big West Championship this week as well. They swept Hawaii, which is very exciting for them, and they're currently tied at 4th place in the Big West. And then softball will be having their last home game series this weekend against UC San Diego, and then we will be done for their season unless they compete in the championship. And they played and beat Cal last week, which is super exciting. Cal's in the Big Ten, so they were in the big leagues, and we beat them. So that's exciting for us. And then track and field also claimed 2 first-place finishes this past weekend in their invitational and set 2 new records. For Summer Mosley broke a 28-year-old record mark in discus, and Lillette reset the record book in the 3,000 meters steeplechase. These are very big things. And then our Jay Lewison Rowe took first in the men's triple jump at the Mount Sac relays. And freshman Matthew Browner claimed a share of first place in the high jump at the Pacific Coast Invitational. So big awards for them. And then lastly, our CSUN beach volleyball team will head to Cal Poly this week to compete in the 2026 Big West Volleyball Championship. So they're all playing in their championship this month. Those are all the updates from me. If you have any questions, if you go to any of the events, please say hi to me or Carlos. We're always there at the events, and we're so happy to have the students there. Thank you.
Senator Baywa,
Point of personal privilege.
granted. Hello, James.
You say it like that. Good morning, everybody. My name is James Forster. I serve as the AS Programs Manager, here to give you all an update on our events that are coming on this week. So we have 3 events this week. First one tomorrow on Tuesday is our farmers market, but it is also our last refill and repair event of the semester. So if any of you have any glass jars or you need like soap, shampoo, conditioner, body wash, or I think there is some laundry detergent there as well. If you have those items and they're empty and you want to stock up before summer or, just because you're empty, make sure that you bring those containers by tomorrow from 10 to 2 in Matador Square. It's also the last Tuesday that the repair folks from Quilting for Community will be here on campus as well. They'll be here next week on Thursday, but just as a reminder, it's the last Tuesday that they'll be here. So that's tomorrow on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we have Earth Fair, which is our largest program that we do in AS Sustainability. It's pretty much our flagship program. We have over 20 different organizations, some CSUN, some non-CSUN, that'll be coming out to Baramian Lawn between 10 and 2. Other things we're going to have there, we're going to have like a community mural spot with a muralist there. We're going to have a live butterfly exhibit that you can like walk into, and hopefully the butterflies will like land on you. At least that's what happened in our test. We had flower crown making, we have crafts, we've got live music, there's a photo booth there, will be t-shirts, multiple food trucks, all kinds of fun stuff on Wednesday. Again, that's from 10 to 2 out on Baramian Lawn, so we're really looking forward to that. I hope you all have some time to stop by. And then finally on Thursday is just our normal Thursday thrift that we host. It's our second to last Thursday thrift of the semester. Next week will be our bigger Thursday thrift event. Normally they coincide with the refill and repairs, but because it's a large farmers market and then Earth Fair, we got to give ourselves a little bit of a break. So we'll end the semester next week with a bang on Thursday thrift. And that's our programs for this week. Thank you all so much. Hope to see you there.
Yay. Is there anyone else here for open forum? Oh, goodbye, James. Senator Diaz Gomez,
Point of personal privilege.
granted. Hurry. Okay, if there's no one else here for open forum, we will move on to report. Yeah, to reports. Starting with mine. Good morning, everyone. I am so sorry that I did not submit my report last week. I sent out the email and I did not receive any communications that my report was not put into the email until about 8 a.m. in the morning, and I was already on my 5-hour flight. So that is why I was not able to communicate with anyone for until maybe 3 p.m. Eastern time. So again, I apologize. So I will read off a little bit about from the week before. So again, good morning, everyone. I hope you have enjoyed this last week and have been resting up well. Please make sure to take care of yourselves so you can end the semester strong. Um, I wanted to give a special congratulations to our president and our vice president-elect, Hermione Douglas and Sheen Gupta. I'm so happy that our next year is going to be in great hands, and I'm so happy for everyone that ran in this election. It was such a amazing thing to be able to watch, and I can definitely feel that the student body felt themselves represented in each and every candidate. So thank you so much for everyone that ran. I also wanted to congratulate those who got reelected to serve next year. I am so excited to see what you accomplish and hope you thrive in your new positions. Um, and then huge shout out to our elections committee for a fantastic job this year. Thank you for your dedication. As we got up close, we were like 9 students away from having 3,000 students vote. So that's a pretty good jump from last year. Um, and also a special congratulations to Hermione for winning first place at C Symposium for her group project. I was so proud of her, and I was very, very excited to hear that she won first place. Okay, for personnel board, all the manuals that you guys had approved last week was stuff we had approved at the previous personnel board. I had discussed with our executive director some updates on Senate and cabinet, as well as elections and my transition plans. As this year, I'm no longer going to be taking as many meetings. I will be solely focused on prepping the transition for our new president and vice president elect, as that is one of the biggest challenges that we have seen in the last few years when it comes to the transition. It's that the transition doesn't go as smoothly. So I want to ensure that my focus is on making sure that transition is smooth. For IRA, we will begin going over all of the IRA budget requests for the next few weeks. It is, I want to say, about a little over 100 requests. So I'm excited to go over every single one of them. We had a meeting with the provost last week where we went over the investments into the colleges and addressed the areas of interest. As you guys have seen, the UPBG is the biggest area of interest right now. And we're so lucky to have both Senator Ramirez and our Assistant Chair of Finance, Guna, to be part of these conversations and to be able to voice any of our concerns. Excuse me. I attended Faculty Senate, which is where the Disabilities Resource Center was originally approved, and I'm going to see how myself and Hermione can ensure that these conversations can continue and they don't just stall for that little month during the transition period, which is usually May, to make sure that the conversations can continue and the support can continue as well. I was able to attend Mujer de Corazón, where they had given the honors to 4 women that are seen as trailblazers and women to look for in the San Fernando Valley. I was able to attend with our Senator Garcia. And I had the opportunity to watch one of our very own CSUN students receive an award as a student trailblazer. For Admitted Managers Day, I had the opportunity to table, and it was a lot of fun. I got to meet dozens of new students, and it was just fun to see future Matadors have an interest not only within AS, but all of our other AS departments. So I'm very excited for this next year as I get to watch not at CSUN. So that'll be exciting. For CSSA happened during Admitted Matters Day. So I was at Admitted Matters Day and then on my phone for CSSA. So for Finance Committee, we're awaiting the Chancellor's Office to present the endowment contract. However, some concerns were brought up on where the investments would be made. So further conversations are being had. As I have told you guys a few times, the endowment is going to hopefully help offset the cost of attending plenaries to make sure that schools that are not able to send their student representatives to in-person CSSA conferences are able to receive that are able to have that fee waived through this endowment. However, the chancellor's office still has to give us that contract, and that contract will not be coming until May, which is going to be for our San Marcos plenary, May 2nd and 3rd. And then the concern on the investments is because, as many of you guys know, the CSU invests in certain companies that a lot of students do not want to support. So we're looking into our own CSSA policy revisions to see if there's a way that we can control where the endowment is invested in, and if not, what are other options that we can look for. So that is the main conversation that we had in Finance Committee. For system-wide, they continued the discussion on the resolution for the CSU executive compensations, as well as another resolution that was submitted through CSU San Bernardino on alternative consultation. If any of you guys don't know, a lot of ASs, they look for consultation on various different issues outside of their campus. So San Bernardino, for example, in preparation for Hill Week, they did not have their government relations office do a lot of the prep work. They outsourced to a different consultation company to give them that support. So the resolution was made to address the concern of that is money that could be better utilized elsewhere, and how can we ensure that these alternative consultations can be more limited towards just audit and rather than things that can happen internally. Okay. And then for CSU Board of Directors, we approved the following bills to support in this legislative cycle. AB 2392 by Fong, titled the Public Post-Secondary Education Artificial Intelligence Training, and it is to provide training to students, faculty, and staff prior to the deployment of an institutionally provided artificial intelligence tool. AB 2422 by Galosa, titled Student Financial Aid Delayed Financial Aid Awards Extensions, which is to provide protections for students whose financial aid awards are delayed due to factors outside their control. Specifically, institutions must extend enrollment and payment deadlines to prevent students from being dropped from classes or missing fee deadlines, and to prohibit punitive actions such as late fees, registration holds, or enrollment restrictions. And then finally, AB 2766 by Arentz, titled Public Post-Secondary Education, Student Housing, Foster Youth, and Homeless Youth, and it is to expand and standardize housing and enrollment protections for foster youth and students experiencing homelessness across California's public higher education systems, with primary focus on closing gaps at California community colleges. The bill requires community colleges to provide priority access to student housing, aligning them with existing CSU and UC policies, and mandates that community colleges and CSUs, and requests that the UCs proactively identify eligible students in housing applications and clearly publicize priority housing benefits to improve access to transparency. We also had a robust conversation on the SURFI and explored outreach options. And then last week, as I had let you guys all know, I had the privilege of attending CSU Hill Week in Washington, D.C., where I got to meet with four congressmen and women. I met with Congresswoman Laura Friedman, Congresswoman Luz Rivas, Congressman Brad Sherman, and Congressman George Whiteside. One of our main priorities was just to emphasize the need to expand Pell Grant. As you all have heard and we have mentioned over and over and over again, Pell Grant is currently on a shortfall because the federal government is trying to expand the Pell Grant to include students that are going to trade and want to join the workforce instead of receiving a bachelor's degree straight after high school. So the concern that a lot of colleges, universities have expressed is that the expansion of Pell Grant does not include added funds. So that would mean that students that currently have Pell Grant would then see a dwindling amount of financial aid from their Pell Grant as time goes on because more and more students will be eligible. And instead of adding funds to it, they will just create smaller awards. So we had expressed that this is a very, very big concern, not only for California, but for other states. It is a bipartisan conversation and concern. So my main conversation topic within all of the meetings was to ensure that they either give it more money, which was, I think, if I'm correct, about a $17.7 million investment, or to find ways to continue to fund it. So that was the main conversation piece. I also had the opportunity to meet with some of our DC interns, and they're all fantastic. Two of them have expressed interest in coming back to CSUN and joining AS, so I'm excited to connect with them once they finish off their internship. But yeah, this week I have the AI Task Force meeting tomorrow. I will be going to the HSI Innovation Hub reception. We have a meeting for IRA budget review, CFAC meeting, police advisory, and I will be meeting with our president and vice president-elect to have a conversation on our CSSA elections. Our CSSA elections are happening this Saturday. So if any of you guys are interested in who the candidates are, please let me know. You guys can also access it on the website. And I encourage you all to please come to this meeting if you guys are coming back to AS, as these are going to be the executives that will be representing the entire CSU system and all of our CSU students at the system-wide level. And if you guys hadn't heard, our very own Chair of Legislative Affairs, Rosales, is actually running for Vice President of Legislative Affairs. So if you guys would like to show some support and speak during public forum, that is also an option. But yeah, that is about it. Just a really quick announcement. I'm attempting to arrange a visit with our student trustee, Jasmine Guajardo. So if any of you guys are interested in learning more about the CSU Board of Trustees or about our student trustees, please let me know so that I can take your times into consideration. She really wants to, when she came for the Valera Nest opening, she didn't really get to tour CSUN. So the opportunities for her to tour CSUN and tour all of our departments, as well as learn about all of our resources outside of the Valera Nest. So if any of you guys are interested, please let me know. And that is about it. Are there any questions for my 2-week late report? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will move over to Vice President Geminiano Aragon.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you all had a great week. As of my report, I attended the Systems Governance Committee, and I also had one-on-ones with Attorney General, Executive Director, and a few students who seeked my guidance. We will be hosting the last Mental Health Monday on April 27th, themed to Denim Day. So if you are able to attend it, remember you can use your office hours to be tabling, engaging, and all of that. I also reviewed the applications for the AI Jam and submitted my top 5 projects. I was genuinely impressed by the creativity, dedication, and level of thoughtfulness across the submissions, and I am grateful for the opportunity to serve as a judge this year. I will also be hosting and announcing the AI Jam winners at the Digital Day Equity Day on Wednesday, April 29 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Once again, if you're able to attend, you can use your office hours for that. It's going to be in the ATEC building. I will be helping in the last AI workshop, May the 4th, with ChatGPT AI as your study partner. More so reminders for this week, and please pay attention to this. There's a lot of deadlines in this. First of all, transition packets are going to be due on Monday, May 4th at 5 p.m. So I already sent to your emails the template. What you're going to do is going to create a Google Doc. So you're going to make a copy of the template using your CSUN AS account so that the transition packet stays within your drive. You're going to complete all sections, and I've included guiding questions per section in the comment section. So there's no need to address them all, but I wanted to give you a little bit of guidance of what I'm seeking in each part. Make sure that your answers are thorough, thoughtful, and reflects both your accomplishments and recommendations for future senators. At the end, and by the deadline, you're going to share the document with Savansh and me. Then in terms of standing committees, the reports are going to be due on Friday, May 8, this is more for the chairs and vice chairs. I already sent the template link, so please start working on that, but remember that it will be due on the Friday after our last Senate meeting. And then in terms of what the end of the year timeline looks like, our last Senate meeting, remember May 4th, we are most likely going to also have a special meeting agenda. So in case that you need to submit anything else, just please make sure you do that before or the Thursday before that May 4th. So any agenda items should be submitted by April 30 at 5 p.m. Then the deadline to culminate legislative referrals within your standing committees is going to be Internal Affairs, April 28, External Affairs, April 29, and University Affairs, April 30. So with this in mind, do not hesitate to reach out in case of any further questions, and I wish you a productive and successful week. Thank you.
Are there any questions for our Vice President's report?
Permission to be recognized.
Granted. Senator Diaz-Gomez.
Permission to be recognized.
Granted. Senator Heredia.
Permission to be recognized.
Granted. Okay, are there any questions? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will move over to our Chief of Staff, Boberg, who is out sick. So I will be reading it out. Give me one quick minute. Okay, he said, "Hello everyone, I am unfortunately sick. But just so you all know, I had a few of my one-on-ones, but I was out sick for a good chunk of the week. So I was not able to meet with everyone. I will be meeting with each cabinet member this week to discuss performance and the completion of transition packets. I also attended internal affairs. I have continued to reach out to orgs regarding my cabinet event and worked with marketing to finish the flyer. I also have a meeting with Dreams to be Heard and created a budget with food and giveaway items. I also held cabinet meeting over Zoom due to my illness." Okay, and now moving on to our chair of elections. This past week, I focused on successfully executing each day of elections week. I have also been working on wrapping up post-elections tasks, including sending reminder emails to candidates about required forms. Additionally, I'm in the process of planning a thank you lunch for everyone who contributed to making elections week a success. I want to give a special shout out to Tommy and Denise for their incredible support throughout the week. Their help truly made a difference. Okay, now moving on to our Assistant Chair of Elections. This week, I reached out to the members of the Elections Committee to get feedback on what went well during our voting days. We've been discussing what can be done better for future elections. I've also been creating my transition packet for the next assistant chair of elections. I also met with Araceli and Hermione to go over logistics for the last Matador Conversations event, where the DEI and Elections Committee jointly invite the newly elected AS representatives to meet their constituents and share their goals for the upcoming year. And that is about it for cabinet. Are there any questions? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will move over to our Chair of Finance, Tourette.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. To start us off, our balance totals for supplemental funds. Our star is at $135,358. Unassigned contingency is $431,030. Philanthropy fund is $3,400. Clubs and orgs travel is at $14,262. Some work I did over the past week. I continued to review and process requests. I attended my one-on-one meeting with the Controller Lawrence. I attended the cabinet meeting as well as I had a meeting with IT. So I also just wanted to give you guys a little update on the Code of Finance. The Code of Finance will be, at least the updated version for 2026, 2027. Code of Finance will be sent out today. I apologize for the delay. There were a numerous amount of amendments that the Finance Committee suggested, and there was a lot of going back and forth to clarify and, make sure that everything is properly stated in the Code of Finance. That being said, there were 12 amendments to the Code of Finance that the Finance Committee kind of made or suggested, I should say recommended. It's not technically made until we all voted on it. And I just wanted to give you guys that list of amendments that were made. And just to give you a heads up, the Code of Finance will be lengthier. So apologize, but it's for the best. So here are the amendments that we made. So first and foremost, I'm going to summarize this the most I can because it is 12. But the Finance Committee has suggested to start funding apparel. So this would be the first year that AS will actually be giving any sources of funds to clubs and organizations for apparel. I will say that there is a lot of limitations just because this will be the first year we will be doing it. And because it is the start, I just don't want to, take a giant leap forward. I kind of want to take baby steps. Obviously, changes could be made as the years go by, but just to start us off, we will be funding apparel, and there are limitations. Secondly, we also wanted to provide some clarity within the Code of Finance because there was a lot of loopholes and a lot of things that I felt like we needed more clarity on. So secondly was the SOS fund, which is a fund that we have designated just for accessibility funds, insurance, and most commonly, as you guys all know, we have a giant deaf department here at CSUN. And when clubs and organizations want to have a conference or an event here on campus and they need interpreters, we would go ahead and utilize that SOS fund to fund those interpreters. So currently, the Code of Finance is stated that an organization could receive up to $600 for a given year with the approval of the board. We kind of removed that dollar amount. We felt like we shouldn't have a limit on accessibility for clubs and orgs, so we did remove that dollar amount. So now it's just stated that AS would provide support to any clubs and orgs needing this fund for accessibility. Thirdly, food. So currently, the Code of Finance states that we have a limit of a club can use AS funds for two different one-day events with a maximum of $250. We still kept that, but we also added weekly meetings. So now a club can receive up to $100 in food for weekly meetings, $50 per semester. It is a low amount, but like I said, we want to make baby steps. We don't want to take a giant leap. Fourthly, we added some more clarity on one-day events. There was a lot of gaps and a lot of loopholes that were in the Code of Finance about one-day events, so we just provided more clarity. So the Finance Committee also suggested to start funding promotional educational items for clubs. It is now, we will have some strong guidelines, I should say, and the cap is 300 per academic year, 150 per semester. So we also made an increase in supplies and materials under viewpoint neutrality. So now the current limit is 1,500. We increased it to 1,750. Another change are banners. We have now increased the limit from 150 to 200. Okay. So currently in the Code of Finance, it is stated that we could fund flowers, but it is up to the Finance Committee to decide whether we want to actually fund those flowers. So I actually made a change and added some clarity. So as you guys all know, we do have the tradition of the rose, and I feel like that is something that I feel like the AS should fund. So I went ahead and added a limit of $100 strictly for the tradition of the rose under viewpoint neutrality. And I still kept that statement in the Code of Finance where it says flowers could be funded, other sources of flowers besides the roses could be funded by AS with the exception of the Finance Committee. So another change we made was through the philanthropy fund. Currently, it is stated that decorations and supplies are limited to $200. We felt like we should separate those categories, and now decorations will have a limit of $200 and supplies will have a limit of $1,500. Okay. Some more clarification. As you all know, AS does fund facility rentals on campus, and we just kind of provided some clarity to make sure that custodial fees were included in those expenses. So that is also going to be stated in the Code of Finance. So another big one is we now created an academically related competition travel fund. Now this was suggested, as you all may know and recall, that there was a request about funding a competition, but there was no correct fund where to kind of put that in. So we couldn't use the STAR fund, we couldn't use Clubs and Orgs travel. So we had to use unassigned contingency. To prevent that from happening, we have decided to create the academically related competition travel fund. And the second to last amendment. So earlier in the school year, there was a conference that MIC, like a meeting that the MIC had. And within that meeting, it was mandatory for at least one representative from each clubs and orgs, either each clubs and organization to attend. And within that meeting was the Finance 101 presentation. So in previous years, just to provide you guys with some history, it was mandatory that at least a member from each club must attend the Finance 101 presentation in order to be eligible to apply for the annual budget. And that is something that I reinstated this year, and I will now be implementing that in the Code of Finance, so it is clearly stated in there. And last but not least, I also have provided some clarification on the subscriptions that AS does provide, the three being Canva Pro, GoDaddy, and MailChimp. So there will just be more clarification on that. And that is all the amendments that the Finance Committee has suggested. Just like last week, I mentioned there is a questionnaire that I did send out to all of you guys. If you don't have access to it, please let me know. And if you have any questions regarding the annual budget, the Code of Finance, please reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys may have. You can come by my office hours. I also put my personal phone number in there. So if you guys need to text me, just go ahead and shoot me a text. Just tell me who you are, because I don't answer unknown numbers for, obvious reasons. I don't want to get scammed. And yeah, that is all I have for the work I did over the week. So Finance Committee will meet today at 1 p.m. We will be reviewing the Code of Finance with all the reinstated amendments that we recommended. And right after Finance Committee, you guys should all receive the Code of Finance. So some work that I will be doing over next week and this week. I do plan on making a video regarding the philanthropy fund, so students are more, so students know more about the fund and what's available to them. I also made some jackets for the Finance Committee, and we want to take a group photo. That was planned this Monday, but we had to postpone it for some delays. And as well as the Finance Committee will be talking about a tabling event we want to do to just show our faces and introduce ourselves and tell student clubs and just students about all the funds available to them. And I will also be attending the IRA budget review meeting on Thursday at 9 a.m. sharp. So now moving over to our Assistant Chair of Finance's report. Good morning, everyone. Over the past week, we had our Finance Committee meeting where we reviewed and approved one supplemental request. I followed up with the clubs regarding their supplemental funding questions and invited them to attend the next Finance Committee meeting. Additionally, Chair Tourette and I are working with the marketing department to make videos about different types of funding that AS provides. Lastly, I attended the University and Internal Affairs Standing Committee. Thank you so much. All right, thank you, guys.
Any questions for our Chair of Finance, Tourette? Senator Diaz-Gomez.
For any clubs or orgs that miss because you stated that if they miss the meeting that they're not allowed to, or that it's implied that they're not allowed to get funding. If they miss that meeting, is there an explicit makeup meeting and or one-on-one that they can attend in order to receive that funding?
Yeah, so actually this year I gave them, I think, a month and a half to make up that meeting. I sent out scheduled meetings that I had, and I also mentioned that if none of the meetings that I sent out fit within their schedule, they can always contact me and attend my office hours, or I'd make some time outside my office hours to meet up with them. So there will be makeups, and it should be at least they should have at least a month to make up the meeting.
Are there any other questions? Senator Gavino.
Yeah, you mentioned promotional educational items. Are those like highlighters and pens with branding on it? Is that what that is?
Yeah, that would fall into that kind of category. We were talking about notebooks, highlighters, pens, just because that's what we kind of saw a lot of when students were requesting to kind of have these items. Unfortunately, in the Code of Finance, it is stated that we don't fund giveaways, and that's kind of what it was categorized as. So now we created this this kind of exception for that.
Are there any other questions? Senator Contreras.
Since the 25-26 budget application passed already, is this applicable to the 27-28 budget application, or is it, sorry, how do I phrase this? Like, are the changes for this budget or like this upcoming fiscal year, is it only to like the further years after? Since changes are already happening now and the application was due in December.
Yeah, so if any changes are made currently, we would go back to the annual budget and kind of make those corrections. So an example would be, we want to increase, banners, right? So if someone actually requested $300 for a banner, and our current limitation was $150, by the next fiscal year, we would make that change, or now we'll increase it to $200, because that's kind of what the change that we made. Does that answer the question?
Are there any other questions? Senator Gavino?
You're saying that change would be made before the approval of the budget by the board?
It'd be made after, because once you guys approve the annual budget, you would also be approving the Code of Finance at the same time.
Would those changes be made without the reapproval of the board? Like, would you have to go through every single proposal and like re-update them, or do you have a list of them, or how would that work?
Yes, we would have to go back and look at each individual and make sure that we didn't miss anything and those corrections are made.
Because I guess just my assumption was that they made the proposal under the old rules, so they'd just be granted the money on that, and then any supplemental funding for next year could be applicable to the code, the new Code of Finance, but I don't. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if we were allowed to change the budget after it's been approved necessarily.
You are correct. So they could then apply for supplemental funding with the corrections. My apologies. Yeah.
No worries, that makes sense. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will move over to our Attorney General Maheshwari.
Good morning, everyone. I went ahead and attended Cabinet, Internal, External, and University Affairs this week. Thank you for all the chairs making sure like we had a meeting this week. Showing up is pretty much half the battle. So thank you so much for that. Make sure you guys complete your transition packets by May 4th. This is really important. And if you guys have any questions about it, please reach out to me or Alvaro, whether that's email or Flare. This week, I will be gathering more feedback from RSOs. I'm going to split it up into two things, quantitative data and qualitative. I'm going to have statements, then I'm also going to have like quantity through like a survey. And yeah, if you guys need any more assistance with your other committee work, just please send me a Flare message. I want to be there for you guys while like the semester winds down. I do have to say, remember to please check out of your office hours. It's kind of getting a little tedious looking at when someone checked in. There's no checkout. I mean, I have a system, it's all automated, but I still need to know how many hours you guys have. And yeah, since we are ending the semester, I will be sending out an attendance tally by the end of this week. So yeah. Also, please remember to send your dean meeting emails. And that's it. Thank you.
Point of personal privilege.
Granted. Any questions? Senator Kotka.
Permission to be recognized.
Granted. Any questions? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will move over to our External Affairs Vice Chair report.
Good morning, everyone. Last week we were able to have a meeting. Last week we were able to table indefinitely the legislative referral A, which is the California primaries. And we were also able to get an update from Senator Ramirez about the food pantry food selection expansion, as she was able to contact the vendor, but the vendor has not been able to contact her back. And then we have also been in discussion for the Unify Email Domains legislative referral, and we have just been in discussion about that. Lastly, Senator Cachiria was able to find the resources on the website from DPS about the bike lanes and scooter regulations, and we are going to reach out to DPS and Neighborhood Council to discuss more about that. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will move over to our Internal Affairs Committee report with Chair Basilio.
Good morning, everyone. I'm still recovering from last week, so I'm sorry if my voice sounds weird. But first, we tabled referral 2025-26-033, meet with all AS departments indefinitely, because all of the work that needed to be done or shared was either completed or turned in as a referral before the form closed for submission. And we also had Dreams to be Heard in the Dream Center come in and continue discussions from the last time they were at internal, so that we could have a better understanding of what they'd like to see on our new undocumented students resolution, which will be sent before we all need to get it approved. And we're also finalizing code revisions and should be sending in some in the committee to be approved there and then sent here. And we're also supporting the Attorney General with the RSOs. We were all assigned 5 RSOs to reach out to see what they need help with. But that's pretty much it from internal.
Thank you. Are there any questions for our internal affairs? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will move over to our university affairs report with our chair, Umano.
Good morning, everyone. Just an update on a few referrals that were in the committee. It was my recommendation to table our club storage referral since we are gonna kind of transition into a club storage survey. I know some of our committee members and our advisor, Calvin Yoon, we were looking into see if we had any options here on campus to implement a club storage system, but it seems that at the moment that's not possible. But we will be creating a survey and reaching out to RSOs to see what the current need is for clubs to store their items and any relevant things needed to table and, be at Meet the Clubs. Another referral that was tabled was our custodial fees referral, since our Assistant Chair of Finance, Gunagali, he did us the favor of adding this as an amendment to the Code of Finance, as you guys heard earlier. The referrals that are still in the committee, such as religious accommodation and campus event scheduling and training review, will stay in the committee for now as our Senator Atias gathers more data. Our referrals for increasing gluten-free options and ensuring non-food cross-contaminations on campus dining options, we will kind of tackle them together. We are trying to arrange a meeting with Matador Eats sometime this week or next week. We have also a referral on a headshot service. We will be meeting with the Career Center to see how we can implement something more than what's offered at the moment. I know that the Career Center offers a booth for headshots, but we want to see if that could be improved on. I know that my assistant chair, Senator Dominguez, Senator Dominguez, he's working on student gas cards at the moment and also looking into the Valerianes Food Pantry reusable bags. We're also going to hold a meeting to see if we can name a street after Dr. Watkins, our Vice President of Student Affairs. And our Attorney General is currently working on a survey to give to RSOs regarding Greek life outreach and communication improvement and our review of MIC practices and structural constraints. I did have a question for Denise. I know you sent an email earlier this semester that we would be meeting in the executive boardroom. Is that still happening?
Yes, everything should be the same as the email. I'll double check and I'll send you an email later on
Okay.
today.
All right, yeah, so just a reminder to the committee members, we won't be meeting in the Calabasas room this Thursday. We will be meeting in the executive boardroom. But yeah, that's it for my report.
Thank you. Are there any questions for our University Affairs Committee? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will move over to our Executive Director Allen's report.
Excuse me, happy Monday. I want to begin by thanking Denise and Kevin for all of their hard work and getting us prepared to have a special election next week on Tuesday, the 28th. That election will be from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. There will be one on-campus voting booth location, and that's going to be located at the Farmers Market. So again, I want to acknowledge all the hard work that they've done updating the website as well as preparing the language so that we can get that on the ballot before students. You've already heard, thank you, Emily, for a very detailed presentation on the budget language, but you will get that completed document with strikeouts and new additions after the Finance Committee has one last opportunity to review that this afternoon. Today is the 21st of April. So 3 weeks from today is finals. It's the 20th, I'm sorry, the 20th of April. So 3 weeks from today is the beginning of finals. And so I don't know if you were like me, but springtime always was fun time, which kind of meant that I kind of forgot about what I needed to do to get prepared for finals, whether it was final papers, presentations, getting prepared for exams. And so I kind of waited until that weekend before finals to kind of like do it all. I'm encouraging you not to have that be your path as you work on your degrees, and that you begin to work on the things earlier so that you can go into your finals week less stressed than I did. The last thing that I wanted to do was talk about today because today was significant because I remember this day. So on April 20th, 1986, who was here? Okay, so you weren't here. Okay, a 23-year-old Michael Jordan, who is the GOAT, it's not LeBron, set the NBA record for most points scored in a single playoff game, dropping 63, I said it, 63 points against the Boston Celtics. Now, as a Laker fan, I hated Boston. So at this point, we thought Michael was going to win it for us. But it was game 2 of the first round at Boston Garden. Despite the incredible double overtime performance, the Bulls lost 135 to 131. And the Celtics' Larry Bird was famously described as God's disgust at Michael Jordan, or something like that. But anyway, Michael Jordan, 63 points, single NBA game. You just need to know this. I know you didn't see it. You can watch it on YouTube, but I saw the game live. An incredible, most incredible game ever. So check it out.
Thank you. Are there any questions for our executive director? Senator Cannon.
Permission to recognize.
Granted. Okay, if there are no questions, we will move over to our University Advisor Butler's report.
Good morning. Just friendly reminder, next Wednesday, April 29th is our Clubs and Orgs Award Ceremony, 3 p.m. here in the Grand Salon. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will move over to our Faculty Advisor DeMarco's report.
Good morning, everyone. I have a voice. Your executive director already talked about the importance of the end of the semester to you, so I won't stress you all out about that. But I will share something about myself, since that's a trend here. As we approach Earth Day this Wednesday, April 22nd, I notice a lot of people don't really recognize it, so I want to give you a significance to my life. I wanted to share a brief personal reflection. On April 22nd, today's the 20th, right? So on April 22nd, 1990, as a young adult at 22 years old, college student, I attended the Earth Day event in Central Park in New York City. Many people don't realize how significant that moment was, especially for me. It was one of the largest gatherings of its kind in Central Park, with an estimated 750,000 to over 1 million people coming together to share a cause of saving the earth or conservation. So being part of that experience stayed with me for years, and I was also active in my own college in New York City at the School of Visual Arts, which is an art school in New York, getting involved in a paper recycling program. But it showed me that when people come together around something that they care about, their voices can really make change. And even though I noticed these small little reminders on campus here and in the student union, like the signs above the hand dryers that say talk about conserving resources or reducing paper waste, I'll be honest, it's hard for me when I see these messages ignored, because those small choices add up. But that's also the point. Change doesn't just happen at large events, it happens in everyday decisions. And that idea still applies today as we recognize Earth Day on Wednesday, April 22nd. Try not to just oversee it as another day. Whether it's environmental issues or the work you all do here in the Student Senate, your voices and your actions have an impact. What you choose to engage with and how you show up and contribute to shaping this campus and the communities around you are very, very important, and I recognize that. And so I thank you all for that, and I wanted you to share that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for our Faculty Advisors report? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will move past unfinished business into new business, starting with line item A. Is there a motion on the floor? Senator Gugino.
Move to I move to allocate $1,520 from unassigned contingency to ALPFA for their end of year banquet, including $1,150 for room rental, $250 for food, and $120 for bookstore incentives.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Cunanan. Is there any discussion? Senator Basilio.
So for the room, I'm looking at the like actual document with the finance breakdown. Is the room rental just for the one room?
Yes.
Okay. Is this is all on campus, I'm assuming, right? I'm just okay. And um the bookstore incentives are for like executive board members, general members, or just people who are going to the banquet?
Yeah, so it is going to be for all the club members. It's available to all of them. And it was stated that it's going to be kind of like a prize, I should say. So if they win some sort of competition, they get the chance to win the bookstore gift card.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Are there any further questions? Okay, seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of approving the allocation of $1,500 to $20 from unassigned contingency, please raise your hand. Okay, this passes unanimously. Thank you. We will now be going into line item B. Is there a motion on the floor? Vice President Jimeniano Aragon.
I move to table line item B and C to our next Senate meeting.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Arias Gomez. Is there any discussion? Vice President Jimeniano Aragon.
So I wanted to introduce the resolution, however, just because I knew that the budget was coming up, so I wanted to make sure that we integrate that within our budget. But now that we have a little bit more time, there's no need to rush it, especially because I sent the resolution to Crystal Bowell from the food pantry, but she has been sick, so I haven't really gotten the chance to sit with her and like share feedback. So I'm going to be doing that this week and with the director of the Office of Basic Needs. So no need to rush it for approval. It will still come back, but just, making sure that everyone's on the loop and everything.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on tabling? Okay, seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of tabling line item B and C until next week, please raise your hand. Okay, this passes unanimously. Thank you. We will now move over into information items, starting with our graduate Senator Cunanan.
Hello, everybody. So a few updates. So for my Senate event, we're rescheduling it to April, hopefully April 28th, and we're in process of the rescheduling. We're in process of getting a room and also updating the flyer. And yeah, and then we'll provide more updates closer to the date for the graduate student mixer and graduate student resource and networking mixer. In terms of my personal project, I'm hoping to reach out to Christelle Bowen just to touch base with her with the toiletry drive and then hopefully get the flyer made for it soon. And then I'll be hopefully collecting the data on how many toiletries were donated. In terms of my standing committee internal affairs, we're making great progress. Gosh, let me think. So we reached out to representatives from other AS departments to see how we could support their student assistance, and then also looking over the codes. And yeah, we're making progress in internal affairs. And then for my office hours, just basically been working with Senator Monty to plan the Senate event, discuss my personal project, and also if there's any support. And then I also helped out with like a few mental health Mondays. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Senator Cunanan? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we'll move over to Senator Garka.
Hello, me and Senator Radianov have worked closely this semester to complete our shared personal project and Senate events. And since we are reporting the same day, I'm just going to give a brief overview and he can go more in depth. No shade. He can go more in depth. And then in terms of our personal project, we worked gathering survey responses from over like 100 people. And from the findings of the survey, we created a legislative referral that was sent to Internal Affairs in order to gain support for research volunteers. And for our Senate event, we tabled outside Citrus Hall, and we worked collecting survey responses and sharing information about AS and how it operates. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Senator Garka? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will move over to our lower division, Senator Garcia.
Hi guys, so for my report, I wanted to discuss about how me and my co-senator Vicente have been reaching out to our dean, Kimberly Haid, to reconnect and explore opportunities to engage freshman and sophomore students in U100 classes. And we were able to attend one class earlier this month to give a presentation. And also shout out to Senator Dominguez for making the graphics for the Metro survey. For the External Affairs Committee, I forgot to say it in the report, but I will be reaching out to DPS and the Neighborhood Council.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Senator Garcia? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will move over to Senator Reedy now.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Just to jump in, as for our personal project, we were able to finally compile all of our data and submit a legislative referral. So we conducted a 100-person research access survey, just as Senator Kotkan mentioned. And the most striking results that we were able to find was that 58% of students reported no research experience at CSUN, which is one of our most surprising statistics that we were able to find. Among those who did secure positions, 50% did so by just independently emailing or knowing the faculty, and 24% were either just directly connected by an advisor or 18% from just taking a course and reaching out there. The most common barriers that we found were time constraints, lack of awareness, and not knowing how to apply. So these findings suggest that research access at CSUN really depends heavily on individual initiative, and there is no formalized access pathway, something also our dean echoed. So following these results, we submitted a legislative referral that was placed into Internal Affairs with the aim of developing an initiative that would provide financial support for research volunteers and recognition from associated students that could be relayed into professors. So the outcome is really still evolving, but really our main goal is to connect students with professors. And if possible, we would like to establish funding. As for next steps, I plan to reach out to professors who are looking for volunteers in the summer and winter sessions, perhaps doing some sort of petition to see that, hey, this type of initiative is supported by faculty on campus. And then as for our Senate event, while we were tabling to gather survey responses and handing out flyers, we were able to meet our constituents outside of Live Oak, Citrus, and Eucalyptus Hall. And we spoke about associated students. We were able to talk about how to apply and really get involved and what we do and gathered feedback on concerns and any questions about campus. And so as for office hours, finally, I plan to continue to abide by my scheduled hours and meeting with our dean one final time. That will be our third time meeting to wrap up the semester and provide updates. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Senator Radinoff? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will move past discussion and legislative referrals into announcements. Are there any announcements from the board?
Sorry, oh my goodness.
Okay, if there are no announcements, we will move on to final roll call.
Vice President Emiliano Aragon,
Here.
Senator Arias Gomez,
Here.
Senator Atias,
Here.
Senator Basilio,
Here.
Senator Baywa,
Here.
Senator Cabrera Figueroa, Senator Contreras,
Here.
Senator Cunanan,
Here.
Senator Dominguez,
Here.
Senator Garcia,
Here.
Senator Gavino,
Here.
Senator Kachidia,
Here.
Senator Kodka,
Here.
Senator Mane,
Here.
Senator Luna,
Here.
Senator Quiroga, Senator Radianov,
Here.
Senator Ramirez,
Here.
Senator Umana,
Here.
Senator Vicente.
Cool. And then I adjourn this meeting at 10:57 a.m. You're all free to go.